Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to anyone who is watching us from anywhere in the world, especially all Colorado Avalanche fans. It's my pleasure to welcome the national anthem singer and great person and a great friend of mine for many, many years, Jake Schroeder.
Thanks for having me on. That was quite the intro, David. That was pretty cool.
Thank you. It's a great job of Michael from Colorado Europe, who is helping us to do this broadcast. I'm really happy that you have found the time and join us from your home in Colorado.
Of course.
We would like to talk with you about different things, but of course, let's start from the beginning. Can you tell us where you were born and if you have some European legacy, because your surname, last name sounds a little bit German, sure. Some connection with Europe?
Sure. I was born in Boulder, Colorado on January 7th in 1968, so that's a long time ago, more than 53 years now, so that's kind of crazy. But I grew up in Boulder and left and moved to Denver in about 1991. My first anthem for one of the big teams was for the Nuggets in 1985 when I was still in high school. I did an anthem for the Nuggets, and then I would do a few Nuggets ones every year. My family's heritage, we come from right outside of Munich, and Jake Schroeder came over in, I think, 1868 to the United States, and then he had a son named Frank. Otherwise, I would be Jacob Schroeder the sixth instead of Jacob Schroeder the fourth. So I'm actually the fourth, but so pretty cool lineage. And I've been to that area, and I'm planning next time I get over to Europe, I'd like to go down there and go to, you can look in the church logs and see exactly where they're from and where they might have been, where they lived. And I'd like to look that up and see where old Jakob came from. But yeah, so that's kind of my family's history in terms of where we came from.
Thank you. And to our viewers, if you like to ask any question, Jake, just leave it in the comments and I will ask him for you. And how did you become a singer for the Avalanche games?
So I used to, the first year they used a bunch of different people, and then during the playoffs they used a guy named Jim Sailstrom, who's a local singer and a really, really nice guy. And then the second year they had chosen one lady to do it. And then she decided she was going to move somewhere and do something else. So they asked me about it. And at that point, I was really traveling with my band a lot. So I told them I couldn't do all the games, but I'd love to do the ones that I could. And I think the first year I might have missed 7 or 8 games. And then after that, I pretty much worked my schedule around it because it was so important and it was such a cool thing. And it's just really, really fun to get to do. But like I said, my first anthem was for the Nuggets in 1985. And then I continued through the 90s, and at one point I lived pretty close to the arena, to McNichols, where they had the Nuggets games. And so for a few years there, if somebody showed up and was sick or didn't do a good job at sound check or couldn't do it or whatever, they'd call me and they'd be, "Can you get here in 10 minutes and do the anthem tonight for the Nuggets game?" And I said, "Sure, I'll be there." So that's kind of their emergency backup guy for a while. And then just kind of worked my way into the Avalanche thing. They just offered it to me when during that third year. And so that third year was my first year, and I'm stuck at 971 anthems now. So I'm not really, well, actually 972, because I was in the building for the opening night. So I'm counting those. I'm not counting the video ones, but I am counting the ones where I'm there live. And so I'm allowed to come sing, but I have to leave right away, right as soon as they're done, because it can only have, at this point, I think 125 people in the building per the state mandate. So I have to kind of get in and get out. So 972 now. So almost 1,000 anthems there, which is crazy.
I'm sorry for that you have to wait, but this whole COVID thing, it's my job, because I didn't want to miss your game 1,000. And if there is no COVID, you would already pass it. So we have to wait for the next trip, and I'm sure that then we will all watch your game 1,000 at the Ball Arena.
Yeah, that would be fun. I'm really hoping that things start loosening up and that the vaccine starts making a big difference soon, because so many people have suffered from this thing, and it's just, we got to be safe. But at the same time, I'm really looking forward to being around people and shaking hands and giving people hugs and, stuff like that. That's really been a tough one to miss,
Yeah, of course. And by the way, do you know what is happening with the arena staff, employees?
Um,
Because
you
uh,
broke up for just a sec there. Can you repeat that?
if you know what is happening with the arena staff people, because we had many friends amongst them, they recognize us every year. And now, for example, last year's, I used to, when I watched the Avalanche games, I always was pointing on the TV screen like, hey, I know this person, this is my friend. But now, of course, I can see only empty seats.
Yeah, I think a lot of the in-game people there are doing something else. I know that they got paid for a time. I don't know if they're still getting paid, but I know initially, at least, they were getting paid. That might not be true anymore, but it's tough. It's tough for for everybody. But I know one of my dear friends, the guy that worked the concierge desk right at the top of the elevators on club level, named Dennis, who had been there since the beginning of the Pepsi Center. I think he worked at McNichols before that. He passed away, not from COVID, but had a aneurysm or something. So I'm really going to miss him. He was really a wonderful guy, really sweet guy. So, but hopefully most of those folks will be back, but hard to tell.
And do you remember on the exact date of your first appearance for the Avalanche game and the opponent?
Uh, no, it would have been the first game of the 1997-98 season, and I just remember Hayduk and Drury kind of made the team, and that was the big deal. So we were all rookies in the same year, you know. But no, I'm sure I could look that up. But it was the home opener for the 97-98 season. So,
But, I guess that as a child you were growing up as a singer. Did you have some kind of your own band? Because it didn't happen like you were just going by the arena in 1985 and they hired you. You definitely have to have some history of music.
yeah, I was always in musicals, and I had an a cappella group that I started in high school that we got to travel with a little bit, and then I was in a second a cappella group, and we did anthems together. But they just had open tryouts every year for the Nuggets, and I used to have to go back every single year, and you stand in the you go sing for all these people again. So every year that I had to retry out. So it's nice that the Avs don't make me do that, but yeah, it was always something I really enjoyed doing. I'm really lucky that they chose me to do it, because and honestly, they're a lot better singers than I am. But
I know.
like really, like in Denver, there are probably 1,000 people that are way better than I am. But I've just been doing it so long that that it's kind of a tradition, and I'm really happy and really full of gratitude that that's the case.
972 performances by you. Are you still nervous when you are going to step on the ice, or you are feeling like it's something you are doing every day?
No, I don't get nervous doing the anthem. The other night when I did it for opening night, I was pretty emotional, because I just saw that Eric Lacroix and Marty Lacroix, his brother, were sitting just over to the other side of me, and I know both of those guys pretty well, and I knew their dad obviously really well, and it was really emotional for me to see them and talk to them a little bit. It was really, I'm an emotional guy. I get teary pretty easily, and I'm kind of a big softie, but it was neat, and it was just so sad when Pierre died, because it was just it was just like, come on, man, like, that's not the guy that I don't, you don't want anybody to die, but it was just like, you just weren't really expecting it, and then it was just out of nowhere. And I just seen him. He'd come through town the season before with his family, and got to see him, and it was just really sad. It was hard, because he was very, very nice to me, very kind and protective of me, and just a really wonderful guy.
Speaking about Pierre Lacroix, do you have some concrete experience or moment you will never forget on when he was working with the Avalanche?
I was at a brunch one time, and he told this whole story of the Patrick Waugh trade and how we acquired him, and that he knew from the moment that they left Patrick in the game until there were 9 goals on him or something in Montreal, because Patrick's pretty hard-headed, and he, you can see, I don't know if you've ever seen the video, but you see him leaving the ice and walking by, and he walks and he goes back over to the team president. He's like, "I will never play hockey for you again." And Pierre said he knew that he had him right where he wanted him then. because he had been his agent, and he knew that Montreal was desperate to make a change quickly, and they had to have a French Canadian goaltender, in Montreal, and they had Jocelyn Thibault in Colorado, and so it was just funny. Pierre would wait and call the GM of Montreal in the middle of the night. He knew he's sleeping, and he'd call him and wake him up, and like, why don't you throw in your captain too, and then at the last minute he's like, oh, you know what, we really want these guys to play tomorrow night. Can you fly them down on a private jet? They're like, okay. The deal just kind of kept getting worse and worse for Montreal, and that's how we got those 2 cups, with the goaltending from Patrick. It was great. He was so nice. He said to me at that same brunch, someone said, he said, I see Jake Schroeder out there. He said, he's been around so long, he's like the furniture at the Pepsi Center, which is true. Now I'm older than the furniture.
Hopefully you were not furniture. Otherwise, when Patrick Roy would be mad, it would be too dangerous to be furniture.
That's true, I guess. Yeah. I'm not a television set. Yeah.
You have done so many performances for the Avalanche. Did you anytime forget a word from the national anthem, or maybe you fall back on the ice because there was no carpet or something like that? We see on YouTube videos from other arenas. Yeah,
luckily enough, I've never had a big screw up like that. It's important to me that I don't forget the words. It's and obviously at this point it wouldn't be forgetting the words; it would just be some sort of a screw up or whatever. But it's very important to me that I sing a very respectful, low key version of the anthem that's just as close to basic as it can be, so that everybody can sing along. And I could do all the little melismas and all the all the stuff that some of the singers do, but and you don't really hear it as much in hockey. But I just personally don't find it's appropriate for me. I think other people sound really good when they do it, but I just want to be very traditional about it, and I haven't fallen down yet. It's last year or 2 years ago when I tore my quad tendon and had a brace and had to go out on a crutch out there. I had a couple of pretty close calls, which would have been really, really brutal. But I always think about that poor guy from Vancouver doing the anthem and on his skates, and they laid the carpet out. And I don't know if you've ever seen that or not, but he's skating around and Karen, skates hit the carpet and he goes down, and then he's just having trouble getting. I haven't had anything like that, and my heart went out to that guy because he was just doing something cool. It was kind of a cool way to do it because he's a good skater. But when Sean Podine was here, he was my best friend on the team, and we spent a lot of time together, and we're still very, very good friends and keep in touch. But he got traded, and his first game with St. Louis, he skates over to high five me or whatever, and he hits the carpet and almost goes down. So all his St. Louis teammates are giving him a hard time. Everybody's laughing. But I'm glad he didn't take the carpet down, because I would have gone with it.
But I think if anything like this would happen to you, the people at the arena wouldn't laugh or anything like that, because they really respect you, they really like you, they consider it to be a part of the history of the team. Do you even realize this, that you are not just a singer for them, for us, but you are really part of the family, which is maybe something unusual on the other teams?
I don't know. I think that hockey traditionally has been a lot more like that than other sports. I know that, Pierre told me, he said, I want you to be like Roger Doucette. He did the anthem for 35 years or whatever in Montreal, and they give him a state funeral. I'm like, that's not happening, but I like doing the anthem, and you know what? They've always made me feel like family. The Avalanche have always made me feel like family, and feel really good. And I'm really proud to be part of that family. That's a really, really amazing group of people over there that really care about each other. They really, not just the players, but I'm talking about all the production folks and all the people that work in the charity department and all the ushers and everyone is so kind to me over there. It's really, again, a huge blessing.
About being a singer, but you witnessed so many moments from the backstage. Can you share something funny or something memorable you will never forget on?
The loudest that I ever heard the crowd cheer was at McNichols when Joe Sakic fought Doug Gilmour. I've never heard a crowd that loud. Even when they won the Stanley Cup in 2001, because I wasn't there for the one in '96, but this was Sid McNichols. So I think it was probably the second season that I was there, because I think the third season that they opened up Pepsi Center. But I remember, Gilmore gave Fleury a whack after Fleury was already down on the ice, and Sakic kind of squared up with him, and you're like, he's not going to fight him. Like, he's not. Oh my God, he is going to fight him! And the building just went nuts. It was the loudest I'd ever heard that building, and it was really crazy. That was just a very surreal thing to see Sakic fighting, and it's the only fight he ever had in the NHL. But that was something that I remember. Of course, I remember the Game 7 for the Stanley Cup Finals in 2001, and being, I was so excited. I had to physically calm myself down. And in between the stanzas, in between each line that I would sing, I could hear Patrick Roy hitting his pads with his stick, because he's just so geeked and ready to go. And it was just, the energy was just electric in there. And that was a different era. So if you got a 2-goal lead back then, that was about it. It wasn't like how they've loosened up today. And I prefer the way it is now. But back then, and especially playing against a team like New Jersey with that lock that they did, that left wing lock, and that neutral zone trapping that they did, that really boring style of play, it was, you better get some goals on those guys, because they're gonna just shut everything down. So that was also a really neat time, and just the stuff, getting to escort the veterans out to center ice the last 2 years for the for the military appreciation night. So 2 years ago, I escorted my friend James Harvey out onto the ice, and he was a Tuskegee Airman, and is just an amazing man. I've learned so much from him. I got to escort him to Europe and take him around to my friends' houses and have dinners and things. And he's just I learned so much about that experience back then for him, and it really changed how I approached our program. And then last year I did a lady named Leila Morrison, who was a nurse, a combat nurse, and was one of the first civilians into Buchenwald to liberate the camps. And she's just as lovely as could be. And she did the funniest thing. So, when you drop the ceremonial puck, you kind of go out there and you have the puck, and both players are standing there, and and you just drop it, and the captain pulls it in, and she gets the puck, and this is the best video, because she just comes up and she goes like fetch, go get it, and she just flicked it, and Gabe starts laughing so hard, and I start laughing. It was really funny. It was really just a great moment. It was so clever, and so I don't know if she meant to do it on purpose or not, but it was just so funny.
Okay, so if Joe is watching us, you give him the good advice. If he wants to have ball arena very loud, just start to fight with some other general manager, and it will be good.
Yeah, I don't know if it'd be loud if Joe was fighting. I don't really see Joe fighting anybody these days, or any or me or anybody for that matter.
Maybe the last question about the Hackie. How do you remember on Joe Sakic career? Or maybe what is your relationship? What person is he from your look?
Well, I've always he just did his final one this year, but he always did a big charity event. And I think except for the first one, I think I volunteered at all of them, and my band would play. Or in the last few years, we've done an auction item for his live auction, where some musicians and I you could buy us for a night, and we'd come to your house and do a Christmas concert inside your house. And it's for Food Bank of the Rockies. Joe was really interesting. When he came to town, he said, "I'm picking one charity, and that's the one I'm doing all the stuff for." And so it's Food Bank of the Rockies, and just the amount of money he's raised for Food Bank of the Rockies, and the meals that's translated into is just incredible. I mean, I think they have these little kitchens where kids that don't have enough food get to take a backpack home over the weekend that has food in it, so the kids will eat, right? I mean, it's just horrible to think about that a kid wouldn't have enough food, but it's very common. And so I think by the time he was done, I think they now have like 28 or 29 of these kitchens. I mean, it's just incredible what he did. So he's a good friend of mine, and obviously he'd be the boss at the top for stuff that went on, but I couldn't imagine that he would, like I'd have any interaction with him in that way, unless I did something really stupid. But but no, it's just been really neat to have him here the whole time. And he used to. I was a bartender at a restaurant before I even started doing the anthem, and so we'd feed the homeless on Christmas Day. And so the second year we did it, the first year we did it, we fed like 300 people. Second year we fed like 2,000, and then it got bigger from there. But the second year we decided to do a toy drive. So we're telling Joe about it, and he goes, "Oh, cool." So he comes Christmas Eve, and his Suburban is packed full of toys. He's like, "I went to Toys R Us and spent like $1,500. It was awesome." And it was packed. And then I remember him asking the GM there, Bill Schalmoser, and saying, how much does this all cost? And Bill told him, and he said, "Well, I'd like to pay for it, but I don't want you to tell anybody that I did it." And it's just, I've always been really affected by that level of charity, because he's not doing it to get on camera. He's not doing it to pump his own tires. He's doing it because he wants to, he wants anonymity for it, because, well, I guess he doesn't have it anymore now that I just said that. But it really, I learned a lot from him in that respect. Really neat guy. Excuse me.
You mentioned army, military in your previous answers. So I guess that doing national anthems for the Avalanche is not your job or primary job.
No,
more about your activities.
Sure. Yeah, I was in a band for 20 years, and then shut that down in 2012. But in '99, I started volunteering for a local charity that, and we did inner city youth hockey. We rented some ice outdoors, and then the NHL gave us some equipment. We just invited these kids to come just start playing hockey and goofing around, and we did that for a few years. And then I ended up working there full time, and that was the Denver Police Activities League. So the concept behind it, we've been around 51 years in Denver, 52 years now in Denver. And originally the concept was that these cops would get out in the community and do and coach kids on sports teams. And over the years, things have changed. And a few years ago, we had to stop doing our tackle football program, which was really big because we couldn't afford the insurance anymore. It was just astronomical. And it wasn't going to really protect us if something happened. So we had to stop doing tackle football. And then a couple of years ago, the new chief in Denver decided he wanted to do his own kind of community programming, and that's his prerogative. And so we used to have 2 cops assigned full time to us, and now we don't have any. So we had to stop all of that programming. But it just is what it is. Our main program now is the Overlord Leadership Academy that we do, where we take groups of students or adults or business people, and they go to the building that we own in Sainte-Mère-Église in Normandy in France, and we learn ethics and leadership lessons, and then we go tour and equate those lessons with a battle or with a soldier or with a place, and match that up with the particular leadership aspect that we had gone over that day. So it's really a powerful program. And then I use the proceeds from that, and then I take underserved, mostly inner city kids over and to do the same program, but with police officers as their chaperones, police officers from their area. So they kind of get to know each other, and it's a really successful, really powerful program. Of course, it's completely on hold right now because of COVID. So we're just working on curriculum and working on materials, and we're reaching out to people saying, "Hey, listen, 2022 is going to be pretty busy. So, if you're thinking of going, why don't you let us know? And, we'll try and reserve a space for you." But you've been to the house. That's a very special area, that whole, because it's not just World War II that went on there. You've got the 100 Years' War. You've got, there's a Roman marker in the square that's, 2,200 years old or whatever, that showed the Roman troops how to get to England. It's just, I love history, and that's right up. I'm a total nerd about it. So it's really been a joyful thing for me to get to do. And if we can get these kids who normally wouldn't think of traveling or wouldn't be able to travel like that, and show them that it's possible, and show them that they're capable of doing whatever they want to do, I think that we're hopefully changing some lives.
Yes, I was early fortunate to spend 2 times for like 1.5 weeks at Normandy, thanks to at the house. It's a really beautiful place, and it's peaceful. Finally, because of course there was a war and very, very hard battles, but now it's a really great piece of history. A man can learn many interesting facts about the fights over there. I have been always interested in the World War II, but still I can learn something new directly at this place because it's different when you are reading books and learning, and then when you have a chance to be there and see the stuff from the first row, like in places like Omaha Beach, Utah Beach, cemeteries. It has a really great atmosphere, and it's it's important to show to many people in the world uh, because people are used to forget on stuff like that, and they are talking like this can't happen anytime soon. But you see, we are living in very hard times now. No one could imagine that there will be such pandemic all over the world. So I think everyone, and especially from the politician leaders, should be aware that
Yeah,
anything can happen, and we should do everything to prevent it.
yeah. It was Germany was not a third world country. Germany was a first world, technological advanced country that this movement that was born out of it in the 30s, the 20s and 30s, killed countless millions in the war, but also tried to exterminate people, and that was not that long ago. And so I think, like you said, I think you're right on the money with that. But it's really important to remember this stuff so that we can safeguard against it as best we can for it happening again. Because I don't think I think we're seeing how divided everything is politically right now, and it breaks my heart. But I don't think that I certainly don't think it's impossible for somebody to come out and start, once you get that power, and start scapegoating people. And I think we just really need to learn that that's not the way to go. And it's great being in France, because the French in that area, it's very, very important to them that we remember these stories and remember these men that came over there to save the world, because they had to. That's really what they were doing on the shoulders of these 18 and 19-year-old kids. We certainly laid a pretty big boulder on it, that they were going to be responsible for saving the world or not. And so to see those stories, and you see the grave sites, and you see, all sorts of things like that, it's really a neat thing to get to do. It really is. I think every American should go to Normandy just to learn about sacrifice.
So the overall project is the main thing project you are doing on now.
Yep, that's our big program now. And obviously we can't really even do any of the little ones anymore because it can't be around the kids but we're going to continue to do other things in the community, some dinners and take kids fishing, and we'll add programs. But right now we're just really concentrating on getting everything together Overlord wise, so we can and we may change the name, because I know what it means because I'm a nerd, but a lot of people are like, what's Overlord? Like, is that Dungeons and Dragons, or what? It's like, it was the code name for the invasion, but I think a lot of people are, confused by that. So we may look at a name change at some point, but we're going to continue the program, and really looking forward. I'm hoping to get over there in July, depending on what's going on with COVID. After I do the parade for the Avalanche, hopefully that would be a lot of fun. So.
So you really believe that this team can win the cup finally this season?
Yeah, I think they've been capable for the last couple of years. Last year was, it wasn't that they weren't good enough. It was that their captain was out and their best defenseman was out, and both their goalies were out. And it's like, even if they had beaten Dallas in that game 7, I couldn't imagine that they would have beaten Vegas, which is a tough team, a very physical, fast team. I don't think they would have beat them in 7 games if they weren't going to get those guys back, and it didn't sound like they were going to get those guys back, But yeah, I mean, they have such great leadership. Gabe is such an incredible human being, the stuff that he does. And he and we had a buddy that I introduced Gabe to that just passed away about 10 days ago. It was really hard on both of us. This was a kid that was born with a nerve tumor disorder, and so he'd just been in a wheelchair basically his whole life. And he and Gabe would text him all the time and call him from the locker room after the games. And, this kid went from when he was in high school, being really depressed about his condition, and he wasn't like the other kids, to being all of a sudden the coolest kid in high school because his best friend was Gabe Landeskog. It's like, and Gabe, like Joe, Gabe doesn't talk about that on his blog and doesn't, that's his private thing, and and he did it because he truly loved this kid, So it was hard to have Jakey, pass away, but that's the kind of leadership that you have on that team, And so I know that it goes deeper than that in the team, and I'm not aware of any of the inner team dynamics or anything like that. I'm not part of that, and I don't ask about it. It's not my business. But I can only assume that his character shows through in the locker room just like it does outside of it. So, yeah, and I mean, as far as talent goes, I mean, this is the team in 2001 was pretty ridiculous. You look at their power play, and 4 of the 5 guys are in the Hall of Fame, and the one that's not is Milan Hajduk, right? Who's ridiculous and had incredible numbers throughout his whole career. But you look at that, and you had Sakic, Forsberg, Blake, and Bork on a power play. Like that just wasn't fair, And this team, I think, is playing at a level high enough, certainly they certainly have the talent to win the Stanley Cup. I think everybody knows that. And they're the favorites and everything. And the 2 games that they played so far, the second game, I think, is going to be a lot more like most of their games. I really think they're just going to be too fast and too skilled for a lot of these teams. St. Louis is a good team, but we'll see. It can be pretty unpredictable who wins. LA won as an 8th seed. I think they got in on the last week of the season, or their last day of the season. I think they snuck into the playoffs. So who knows?
Final question for me. You met many different Eurolanche members over the years. Can you share your thoughts on our project?
I think it's so cool, and it's so much effort for you guys, what you do and what so I was kind of complaining right before I came on, because my wife and she's like, "What time's the game tonight?" I'm like, "Oh, it's at 8. It's an 8 o'clock game." And I'm like, wait a minute, man. These guys get up at like 3 a.m. and watch these games, or 4 a.m. So, so I think it's just an incredible amount of effort on your part, and it's really cool. And I think that they're really lucky to have a group of fans in Europe. I wish they'd do more for you guys. I wish that they were, but if they're able to or whatever, I just wish that I'm just glad that you're there, and I'm glad. I know that they are. I think they think it's really especially the European players, I think, really kind of understand it more. But what you've grown it to is incredible. I would say you had 4,000 members or something now.
On social media, we have 10,000 followers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's incredible. That's really, and that's definitely a compliment to you. You've done quite a bit of work for this, David. It's really a cool thing, and I love when you guys come into town every year, and it's fun to meet up with you guys and have a beer and bring the Stanley Cup ring and see the games. And I mean, it's just I think it's just really cool. I think it's a great thing that you're doing.
Thank you very much, Jake. I really appreciate it. Like everything you have done to us, and you help. And you accommodate us in Normandy. It was a really memorable experience.
Good.
Thank you for your time, and hopefully we will meet soon somewhere, here or over there. And stay safe.
You also.
And let's go Avalanche.
All right. Go Avalanche. Thanks, David.